What is up, guys? Aiden Smith here with the Paint Your Path podcast. We have Joel Mercado, the co-host, and we have a super special guest. We have Sam Creaney, sales manager at Forward Media Marketing. Dude, this guy, one of our good buddies. We're so happy to have him on. It's been a long time coming. We're happy to have you. What's up, brother?
Yo, what's up, guys? What's up? Thank you for having me. Yeah, long time coming, man. I'm very excited for this one.
This is the big dog right here, man. Sales guru. Just came off a closing.
Yeah.
So he's hot. He's ready to go. And the good thing is we're also coming off great energy. We all just linked up at PaintCon. It was a slam dunk event. Sam was like at the forefront of putting everything together with Lucas. Amazing time.
I would say definitely Lucas did 99% of the lifting. I was there to be kind of the catching the net of anything, like last minute stuff, you know?
You were actually physically lifting.
Yeah. Exactly.
We were just talking like Sam's like way bigger in person than you would ever expect.
Yeah.
Freaking legend, man. It's awesome.
Love it, dude.
Dude, what do you guys got going on?
For me, I'll tell you, it's end of the year, right? So most people that are business owners listening to the podcast, it's at that time of year getting, the W-2s ready for the new year, making sure everything gets sent out by January 31st. So usually December is like prep for New Year already. And that's what's going on in my world. So what about you, Sam?
So for me, man, I'm a intropreneur, so work within a business. So for me, majority of my stuff's handled already, but I get to, we just onboarded about mid-November. We brought in a new appointment setter. So doing a lot of work with them and they're stellar. So honestly, it's just an absolute joy to work with them. And so far, honestly, working closer with Joel to get some more absolute smart goals set up. And next year, honestly, I'm ready to take off, man. This year was fun. It was definitely a big learning curve for me. Mm-hmm. But 2025, I want to professionalize the crap out of what I'm doing, so I can 4X what I'm doing.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. Dude, I felt like I've been getting ready for this new year since early November. We have a couple things cooking. We're doing a slight rebrand with the coaching, just something slight. I showed a sneak peek to Sam. We got something good going on, and we kind of want to do the same thing with the podcast. We want to, reach more people and kind of dive more deeper into our specific category, so we can capture more eyeballs, get more people involved, and having great guests, obviously like Sam, is going to help that. But also situating the painting company, getting it ready. I think we're going to go to the route of getting a sales rep early on and just having him push the sales as much as possible, or her, right? So we're going to be putting that ad out here shortly, probably by the end of the weekend. So that's some exciting stuff. And we're also, Paint Pro Coaching is going to be a sponsor for Liftoff for Tanner's event with DripJobs. So we're excited about that. And, we're doing some cool stuff with DripJobs. So
are you speaking? A lot of momentum. Not to get it ahead out, but are you speaking for Liftoff? Do you know, or?
Yeah, I think part of the sponsorship, you get a 30-minute spot. So nice. I'll get with him on exactly what he wants me to kind of touch on. If he gives me free reign, we'll see. But anytime you get to, get in front of any audience for me is like huge,
100%. Let's, if you guys are cool with it, let's talk a little about a PaintCon recap, right? A quick recap.
Absolutely.
You just said it best, right? Like, you're still got this momentum going, right? Like, it's like every person I've talked to since PaintCon has either doubled their numbers or it's wild how much energy it's put in everyone's businesses and just personal lives, right? So what are your thoughts on PaintCon for you guys? Like, what did you take away? What are some wins that you took from it? And what do you foresee next year looking like?
I'll let Sam go.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, what I've noticed in general with events is that you sort of get out of it what you want to get out of it. So talking with honestly, I tried to talk to as many people as I could there and get their feedback, see how they enjoyed it, what they got from it, things like that. And I got a wide range of answers from people going I'm going to do this with my team to, wow, I have to do this with my own life now. People went from mindset, things they learned about mindset all the way over to actual applied tactics to their business.
Yeah.
And one major consistent thing was absolute gratitude and being a provider to your team, providing like, clear visions in their business for them to like, for people to grow, chase their own dreams, find purpose and like fulfillment. So honestly, what I got out of it is that no matter what style of business you're doing, there's an industry, an audience, and a network within it. And the more you connect with people that are about what you do, the easier time you have with dealing with obstacles, but also implementing new things. Right? If someone's done it time and time again and they say, dude, this is how I did it, you can sit back and go, sweet, I don't even have to waste time trying.
I'm going to run with it.
Like copy paste in a nice way without like taking stuff from people,
Yeah. And people were very open about that. They were like, take my shit. I will send it to you after the fact, have my slides. I'm just like, damn, I'm like hitting them up like, yo, can you send me those? Because a lot of them, it's just gold. And I think Lucas's goal was for you to get something and come back to your team and improve upon, so that your investment, he even said it there, like, we want your investment, everything you took to get here, 10x it, 5x it, 20x it, 100x it, So that's kind of what was the goal. And I was like blown away, because I think that's extremely possible, right, for how it went. And for me, like, I just thought it was so impressive how he got so many, not only like people that knew their stuff, but leaders. Like, these were head honchos. Everybody that walked up there, held their own. You can tell that they were at the forefront of what they're doing, and they had a plan and they were executing, let us know how they do it, right? So like, we were taking pictures, like we just talked about the slides and whatnot, but it was just so impressive to me that across the board, you look at it and you're like, all right, these are leaders. This is how they're doing it, how they're leading their companies. But it's like, not only are you getting a glimpse of their organizations, but you can now take a lot of that and say, copy and paste, like you just said. Hey, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to teach my guys how to do the same thing and build leaders that can become a speaker, right? Like, Sam, you're going to be one of these guys that go up there soon enough, in the near future, because you're taking it all in, applying it. I mean, we just talked about you investing in yourself with a coaching program, and like, that's huge. You're going to run with that,
Yeah, exactly.
Well said, dude. Well said.
And like, on top of the sharing stuff, one of the, maybe like it's a small one, but it made a pretty big impact, was we did a part where we shared a scenario with like the whole audience on like reviving conversations with like ghosting leads, right? So leads that are like, you send back-to-back messages, they don't give you the time of day, it'll ring 3 times, they hang up on you, they don't want to talk. So we shared a meme, an approach where Pablo Escobar, exactly. So it's as easy as, if you Google it, it's just like Pablo Escobar, like alone meme. And it's just him, like kind of just like either arms crossed sitting or standing in a pool that's empty. But it's essentially like you saying like, hey, I'm just standing here waiting, like I'm here. And it gives a kind of a comedy spin, so that there's like no sales angle to it. It's really just, hey, like I'm here. And we gave it to everybody in the room. And we had a handful of people actually use it and send it out. Like a good buddy of ours, Noah, who does roofing, he used it like, I think 5 seconds after we mentioned it. He's like, yo, Sam, send me that meme. So I send it to him. And it was a lady that had ghosted for like, I want to say like 3 months or something like that. She never answered. He sends that meme and she goes, I'll call you tomorrow.
Like, I did the same exact thing. Re-engaged 2 or 3 clients, 1 coaching, 2 painting. My wife was like, you sent that out to them? And I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome, guys. I haven't tried it yet, so I guess I need to implement it. I'm last
half, bro.
What about you, Joel? What were your takeaways?
Man, there was a lot, so I'll kind of keep it simple as possible. But it's as simple as, I know it sounds weird, and I want to bring this up for people to understand. Like, one of my guys had mentioned something about pressure washing or power washing, right? And it's so weird. I know it sounds like a simple thing, but even when he was on stage, I forget, his name is Ron, I believe. He's like, well, there's a difference, right? This is the difference from pressure washing and power washing. And sometimes we don't even realize how we articulate certain things. And when he articulated that on stage, I was like, dang, dude, I never even thought to correct someone because of what it really is. When he was like, power washing is actually heated water versus pressure washing, right? And like, we live in a world that we're just picking up words and just saying things and not even thinking about what we're doing. And something so simple that he corrected him when he asked that question, I was like, wow, like that was powerful for me, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then other takeaways, man, there's just so many different people doing different things. And it was really cool to be exposed to other people's systems and the level up, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I always think, oh, I'm right here, right? But then when you go into another room with other people that are doing more, it's not about like the revenue side, but just even like the customer service and the processes and the systems and the just the way they're carrying their business really amplified that to me. And it made me excited to go back to the team, right? It's like a revival.
Facts.
That's how I look at it. So I had so much energy from it, and it just, I mean, as you guys know, I nerd out on leadership training all the time. But what I took away for the painting side of things was a big deal for me, was just amplifying the customer service, amplifying the processes, amplifying everything that other people are doing so well that you can do better. Right. And I was just like, man, like watching the Nick Kellys and the people that are just like out there, like, hey, like we provide this level of customer service. And you just are shocked to see there's even more levels to it, right? When you think you're doing so well.
He's like, I hope you go before me because I'm going to blow you out of the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, you don't have the level of stuff I have or the way I do it. He's like, we've perfected it. There's no way, you know?
100%.
And if we lose, it's to an equally, you know, person in the industry, right? Like a Brad Ellison, who obviously has his stuff together. So, and it's cool because at the top is a consistent theme across the whole weekend: collaboration versus competition. We want to be collaborators, right? The best of the best are collaborators, and that's just it, right? Because they understand that you get better when you know, communicate, network, have relationships like that. Guys were getting up there and like, these are my best friends out here, and we're all at the same conference or going to the same sales training because we're all on the same mission. That was really powerful to me as well, you know?
100%. I love that you highlighted that too, because a lot of people don't see that, right? And they look at things as competition. It's like, guys, like your only competition is yourself, right? How do you make yourself to the next level in your team? So I love that you talk about that. No different than why we're bringing a guest like Sam and all the past previous guests is, right? Like it's a big deal to collaborate and pick people's minds, you know?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Sam. I just want to do one more thought about PainCon, and we'll probably talk more about PainCon. But man,
episodes to come.
I know, right? Like I was so impressed. It was. I was so impressed about how important family and personal life and not being consumed by your business, right? These are the reasons you set up these systems. These are the reason you empower these people, create a culture, right? So you can get that time back and spend it where you want in your life and create other lives for people, right? Like, hey, you're going to move up in our organization, become a co-owner, you know, 6-figure earner and beyond, bloodline breaker, right? Like that's what we're trying to set up for our guys. And then we kind of reap the benefits of being that, hey, we set this up, you know, this is from our hard work and setting it up the right way. And every person that went on that stage, not only did they mention God, but they just mentioned like, hey, there's more than just painting, right? It's because we want to achieve X goal with our family, our kids. How many people put their family up there? And we're just talking about them.
Pretty much.
I think everybody. It's powerful. You're trying to get your next dollar. They're trying to spend another hour with their kids, you know? So interesting.
Absolutely. I love that you said we'll have more to talk about PainCon, guys. So stay tuned with.
Yeah.
We'll probably put a little bit of PainCon in each episode for a while until we hit everything, because we could do literally probably 3 hours worth of talking about it.
Yeah. Incredible event, honestly. And for the first one of its kind, I would say, like hosted by marketers alone, and then for specifically the growth just in the industry alone, like we didn't really aim it towards like, let's land more clients here, right? It was aimed at like, hey, let's provide value, because a lot of the people that showed up were either already clients, or if they weren't our clients, they're in areas we couldn't work with them. So because of that, it removed any type of like resistance to certain angles of conversation. It truly was like, how can we get better or learn or pick your brain? Like, how can I learn something from you, and how can you learn something from me?
Exactly.
Like, equal trades.
guys sharing their telephone number, their personal cell, like just give me a call, right? Like where do you go to get that kind of info, right? Like
that's worth the money right there.
Yeah. You know? Absolutely. And like a lot of people, like I was trying to get as many people to come as possible, obviously, right? Trying to get some tickets sold and stuff like that. And one major point that I was always sharing with people that were a little skeptical or like, you know, on the line of whether to come or not, I always pointed out the point of like, look, the real way to get someone's like secrets on how they get something done, right, is you got to be in the same room with them and you got to hang out. Right? They'll never tell you it over the phone. They'll never tell you it over a Google meeting. There's just something different about hanging out and being in the same area that just completely changes the dynamic of a conversation.
100%.
I agree.
That's let's remember that topic, by the way, for next episode, Aiden, because like there's a lot of that behind the scenes people didn't see, like when we were at the networking and the boat.
The best.
The conversations there, I think people were learning more in those private conversations than even being on stage, because, you know, that's a whole nother topic. But like you saying that, we have to definitely hit on that, because there was a lot of things that even came up with me that I haven't taught in years, but because people kept asking me questions, it was unlocking things that I was like, oh, let me share that with you. By the way, it's this. So I'd love to probably do a topic on that next time, so we can dive deeper, like even on your private conversations. I'm sure you had potential clients asking you questions, Aiden, and it probably like started getting you to go, wow, like I didn't even think about these things to talk about. So I'd love to hit another episode on that.
Yeah, let's get to Sam, though, my man. All right, Sam, tell us about what you do. Tell us about you, your background, your story. Dive wherever you want to.
Wow, yeah, for sure. So what I do right now, I'm the like sales director at Ford Media. Like we call it top coach, marketing coach, things like that. Because truly every call I do is about just sort of guiding any person that's coming in on the best practices. Sometimes I've even tell them, look, it's not the best decision to go with us right now. You got to do this. So that's my role at Ford Media. I work within the team to also help grow anywhere I can. And where I came from is a polar opposite world. I did not do anything corporate before this. I played poker pretty much, I would say full time between the ages of like 21 to 26. 17, 18 is when I started. So coming to my parents and saying, hey, I'm dropping out of school to gamble for a living. Kind of a
hell yeah,
pill to swallow. And again, I wasn't a salesman then, so the pitch was kind of not perfect. So I had like just side jobs, things like that, to sort of supplement the income to be able to play, right? Because in poker, your capital is your inventory and your tool to succeed further. But yeah, poker kind of taught me, I would say the biggest thing to like business in general and just life is getting yourself a PhD in human relations and communications. Without that, good freaking luck. You're going to need an applied skill that will pay you hourly rather than pay you for like what you know, right? So poker taught me very quickly how to understand psychology, math, sociology, and just exactly how each individual person is in a certain lane, but can be tipped a specific direction depending on how you communicate with them and what's happening in the environment, right? So luckily, through poker, I learned all that stuff. I learned a lot of business approaches because I would have to sell myself to investors in some angles because sometimes buy-ins were very expensive. And I was like, financially not the best approach for me. Let me speak to other people that know I'm good and create a pitch that sort of understands like, look, investing with me has a better ROI for you rather than you doing it yourself. And it made a lot of good relationships, right? People were like, shit, you know what? Yeah, you come to our games and you're always the one winning. So why would I go risk X amount myself? I could just take a piece of you and you can go play for us. Deal.
So you were dealing with investors to help fund your play?
Yeah, in some spots, right? Yeah,
that's next level.
Because
dude.
it's
I didn't even know it got like that.
Yeah. Just like any type of business, right? You have investments and spend, right, to attain a certain either new system or like avenue to make more, right?
Right.
So eventually you can't just spend on every new thing you see, right? So in poker, that'd be, you can't just go to every single tournament. You can't just go play any single cash game. You have to have a form of like risk management, right? So you'll have a bank roll this amount of money, but you want to risk each time this amount.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's opportunities where it costs you this much and you're like, fuck, I gotta be a part of that, right? So then you just start networking, and then you start going, hey man, would you want to buy 20% of my total action, right? So it's like, let's say something's $100 and $100 is 100% of the action. Well, Aiden, I can come to you and say, man, for $20, you get 20% of the value, right? So if I win $200, will you get $30? You make $20 there, right? You get 20% of all the action. So it's something like that, where it kind of, that started to open my eyes to sales. I've done like retail jobs. I worked as a waiter. So there's an angle of sales there, but I never really like put everything together until I got into the position I'm at today, where I was like, damn, I actually have a lot more sales experience than I thought. It just took a little bit more professionalizing and training. And again, being in the same room with the right people.
Right? Yeah, I would say, bro, I mean, even I think I met you like right as you got that position, if not right before, something like that. And one thing I noticed about you is I may come from the poker, but you're someone that has like ice in their veins, right? Even when you talk to somebody, you kind of have that such level headedness. Nobody's going to knock you off what you're talking about or influence you or make you go up too above, too below. You're kind of cool, collected. And I think that's super important when you're doing sales, right? For a living, especially. So like, do you think that's attributed to poker or just naturally you with your fitness and like, just like being ready?
Yeah, I think poker had a huge part of it. Poker has a wild scale of variance, up and downs, right? And it's truly a game of like, the more it's like, we talk about sales being a numbers game. Poker's an even bigger numbers game. Your ups and downs are more frequent in that game than any other thing in life. So poker in itself is a gamified version of life lessons. So that's why I like, in the beginning of my poker career, I was like, dude, even if I fail miserably, I know I'm going to learn so much from this that it'll be worth more than any type of schooling I could have gone to. Like, obviously, if you need like an applied certification, school's your route. Like doctors, obviously, I want them to graduate med school. Don't want them to be winging it, you know? So
sure you don't.
definitely learned a bunch there. But since poker's ups and downs like crazy, you have to be so emotionally removed. So kind of turned into a robot to some extent, but I'm a very like emotional guy in the sense that like when I'm friends with someone, man, you get 100% of me. And if I'm not friends with you, you get 0% of me. So there's no in between. And it's kind of like our good buddy Russell Peach says, it's I'm 100% or 0%. There's no in between. You can't negotiate that. To me, it's I'm there or I'm not. So because of that, I had to find that balance, because I used to be very on the emotional side, where like I would react, I would have like an answer to something, and I would feed into whatever's possibly moving my emotional meter there. And pardon me, poker got me into stoicism. So I learned more through that, being like the most leveled you can be, right? So even when the highs are high, you stay leveled. When the lows are low, you're leveled. So that you can always come from a perspective of like proper approach rather than emotional decision.
Yeah. Dude, wow. Those are some of my my favorite videos.
Sorry, I'm like
that
zoomed
I come
into
across.
you.
Yeah. It's like Marcus Aurelius, the way he conquered.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
Those are the best, dude. That's interesting, bro. That's super interesting.
Exactly, man.
That's like 0.01% of people's experience.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a question for you, Sam. Like, you're obviously talking about poker, which is really awesome, right? And for our audience, those of you that don't know Sam, like, first of all, I know Aiden would agree with me on this. Is like, you're so genuine, dude. You're so passionate, and this is what's so cool about our industry and the people we keep meeting is the passion behind them and their why, right? So like, obviously you went from poker, now you're into the painting world with FMM, right? So a digital agency that is specific to paint contractors. So where do you think, like, going from that conversion, right? You converted from poker to this in sales now. What do you feel was your biggest challenge going into that transition? And I'm saying challenge because it's always easier to talk about the wins. It's always easier to talk about, oh, I'm crushing it. But I think it's very impactful to talk about the challenges because that's what's going to connect with people as you're talking about knowing people. So what do you think your biggest challenge was taking that transition?
Yeah, wow. Great question. You don't know what you don't know, which within that, if you're trying to learn, what questions do you even ask? Right? So when I made the transition into Ford Media, I came in as an appointment setter for Lucas. So Lucas was wearing way more hats back then. We were a lot smaller. I think when I joined, we were a total of 6 employees.
Wow.
A lot smaller of a group. And I came in needing to set the appointments for him to make the sales. So I had to then go through calls with people that had not much of an idea who we were, what we did, and what we could do for their business. And I myself am trying to get them on a call about something that I don't even know what we can do for them and what our business really does. So I knew essentially like my number one question is, hey, what can I tell them? Right. And it started off as like, well, here are some talking tracks. And as you mentioned, Joel, like I'm a bit more of the genuine side. So I can't just like replicate like a script. I'll sound disingenuous. So talking to a business owner over the phone, they're going to hear that. They're salesmen. They're going to be like, man, screw this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like I can already sense it. It's like maybe a shaky voice or like a poorly asked question or a poorly timed question. Right. So I think for me, to answer your question, Joel, like the biggest challenge was finding out what even I needed to learn. So I've told this to Lucas probably a billion times, but I don't think I say it enough. But I am so freaking thankful that I know him and I'm in his like world to an extent before joining here. Like just a little bit of a jump back. I did my poker career with his older brother, Ryan. I've been best friends with Ryan for over a decade, became like freaking intertwined with that family. Like we're just an entire like mixed family now almost. Right. So always been like a brother to Ryan and always been like an older brother to Lucas. So when he started out, I shared my marketing program with him. I didn't teach him a whole bunch. That program was a little outdated, but he was like, oh man, I want to buy that from you. I was like, dude, here it is. Take it. I don't need it. And if anyone's going to take something from this, it's you. You're going to be able to take this and fly with it. You need anything, I'm here. I understand a bit. So with that, I was struggling like crazy when I first started. Couldn't land a set. And I would see Lucas close deals that would just book opportunities on their own. So no commissions towards the setter. And I'm like, what? What do I want that? What the hell? Exactly. I'm like, okay, that looks like a pretty tasty pie. I want a freaking piece of that. What the heck do I have to do? So I would just ask him like every other day. I'd be like, man, like these are like the calls I've had. I don't know what I'm doing. Like what the heck can I ask? And like, thank God Lucas is like a wildly generous guy as well. Because while he ran his business, he would actually take the time to sit with me and say, like, this is what we can do. Hey, you know what? Maybe join these meetings with our team and ask these questions. Don't be shy. Stop them if you need them. And we'll get you all the info so that you know what you're even inquiring about. Fast forward like 10 months. Like I did 10 months of setting. I think I made like $2,000 across 10 months. So wasn't a successful setter at all. But definitely got in the reps to say like, now I know which way I need to go to learn. Right. So biggest challenge was asking the right questions. It was a wildly deep world that I did not understand. I kind of had some knowledge of marketing, but to be specific to painters and their pain points, that was over my head. Could not figure it out. So I was like, man, I don't even know what to ask to learn next.
Wow. Dude, well said, man. And I think for the audience, they have to understand, you said the reps. A lot of people get so impatient and they move on to the next thing and they move on to the next thing.
Chasing the money.
I have something to tell you on
and
the
it never
reps
gets there.
Yeah. I got to share this part.
Yeah, of course.
Within the reps. So people talk about like what you just mentioned, right? People talk about like not getting the reps in to like see the success. Something that happened in those 10 months was, since I was making no money, I was like, what the fuck do I do? And I got given, like, offered jobs, opportunities to go work somewhere, make like 55, 60K a year, something like that. And you could hopefully build to 80K a year. Wow. Right. Come work at this corporate job or do this, And I was like, man, that sounds like an easy out to start, covering some bills and start making some money and not have to worry. But there was just something about the way Lucas would reach me in like his actual attempt to help me learn. And I just kept saying, you know what? I'm going to stick it out. I know I didn't make any fucking money, but I just don't know what it is, man. Something is telling me stay.
Yeah.
Stay. Because I swear to God, the door to the room that I'm in right now is right over there. I keep it closed. If I didn't succeed in my day, or I was struggling with something and I was like, I want to fucking quit, the door was closed. Obviously you can open it, but it was the mental part where you can't leave. I would take my headset off, whatever I was doing to work. I would drop and do push-ups and say, you can't mentally succeed right now. You're doing the reps mentally. You're going to also do the physical reps. Everyone talks about iron sharpens iron. That starts with yourself, your mind, and your body. Those are the other two pieces of iron. You keep sharpening those two, they fix each other, right? So push-ups made me stronger. Push-ups made me a bit more resilient. Like I would do it to the point my wrists were like breaking on me. Like my elbows were cracking. Like I would have to take like 2 days off from like opening doors or holding something. I couldn't do it. So to speak on the reps, not only do you need like the reps to get better, but if you're in an environment that you don't have clear view on your path and your opportunities or potential, or you're with people that don't help you see that, you are going to be fighting an uphill battle that's so much harder than it needs to be. So when you're going to get those reps in, do a little outward scope check to see who you're around first, because it might not be worth doing those reps, So definitely get those reps in, but are you in the right spot, right? Because not every room is going to value you the same.
Yeah, I could say something to that too, right? Because you want to invest in the people as well, right? It's like no matter what stage they're at, if you know they're a killer or they're going to be something, right? It's like maybe they can give you something that they can't offer you right now, but you know that if you ride out with them, you're in the right circle, good things are on the end, and you feel good about it because you're loyal to them. You guys have that relationship that's genuine. They want to help you. Maybe they just can't at that time currently for whatever reason. And I think that happened with me for Lucas too, right? So it just speaks to him. Like early on in my coaching, he hopped on calls 100% free, right? And he said, hey, bro, I just want to help you out. Started building out a funnel for me, gave me his playbook. He said, bro, just take it, run with it. So he did the same thing for me. I'm sure he did something for Joel. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
awesome. Shout out, man. That's
we're gonna call this podcast Lucas Jensen.
I know, right?
Well, there you go. Really, like, think about it though. It goes to go back to that collaboration and what we spoke about, right?
Yeah.
100%. Like if we didn't meet Lucas, we would have never met Sam. I would have never met Aiden, right? Like maybe if that was God's will at some point, but the timing, right, was all about the collaboration, and that's why you're on this
introduction too.
Absolutely.
And I got something also, right? I was thinking the other day because we had 2 really good reviews, like reviews that make you go, wow, this is why I do this, for my painting company. But I went back and I was like, I've always gotten good reviews. Like not even with companies or being in Philly, having that company, like always 5-star reviews. But even when I'm working for somebody at a company or whatever, they were always just like, Aiden's going to be the next up position, or Aiden, as long as we keep him here, he's going to be something. So it is kind of like also you, right? It's like if you're the right person, have the right intentions, you're gonna be successful in due time. Sam is cut from that cloth, right?
Yes.
You, Joel, are cut from that cloth, and we all acknowledge that, because you can weed out a guy that doesn't have the best interest, doesn't have the best heart, doesn't have the best intentions. Those are the people you want to get away from, right? You don't want your inner circle. You don't want to have that team with and build with, no matter how much money they're offering you or convincing it is. it's like you can kind of feel that person and know, hey, I want to stick it out with this guy, you know? And I can also speak to Sam to when he's on a call with somebody and they genuinely aren't ready for his services. He can make the sale. They're ready to give him his credit card. But it's like, he's like, you know what? Go to Joel, go to Aiden. You need coaching in these areas before you can even get to marketing properly. No, not many people will do that. They will just take your money and run with it. So
facts, dude.
Yeah.
Facts. Wow. This is fire, dude. I wish we had like a freaking sound bite of like bombs and stuff. So, Sam, here's the other cool part, right? Now, obviously, we're kind of hitting the sales side of it, right? What are some tools you think you can give the audience on the sales side that maybe they've not heard of because, you know, they're so used to hearing us talking about painting or talking about something specific like that? I think you have something to give a value on the sales side that you can help these guys and women, of course, to change their mindset on the sales side. So what are something that you can drop here today that would be a valuable tool for someone that's listening to change their sales or maybe even change their mindset about sales?
Yeah. Great question. I would say the tool that's like, I would say helped me the most was my perspective on like what's actually happening here. Right. So I talked about it with the poker side where I'm like emotionally removed from like the scenario and my emotional attachment to money doesn't exist. So a lot of people within sales, they get preoccupied with the idea that I need to close this for the money. I take the approach of I don't care about the money, right? And Andy Elliott said it amazingly too. And I think a handful of times, Joel and Aiden, you guys have said it too in your coaching calls, where when you chase that part, you never really get to it. But when you chase the more true side of things and you're more like genuine with your process, the money just floods your way. Yeah. So because of that, my perspective shift, it shows in the way I talk to people on the calls. So in terms of sales, the conversation goes from a sales pitch to a guided conversation where they entrust my expertise. And then the moment I say something of like next steps, they're all in it. It's not even a yes or no, it's a when. So the sales kind of, everyone likes to know, like, how do I handle objections? Any sales coach, well, yeah, you're going to learn like a few handling objections things. But at the end of the day, there's only like 2 real objections that exist, right? It's a price objection or a belief in the process. And if you can't knock those out before they come up, well, your whole process needs to be looked at, right? So I would say the like biggest, like 1 or 2, maybe 3 tools is remove the need to close. You'll close way more. Implement a way more information and value shared, like style of a communication. You're entrusted massively, right? So within that like second tool, any type of like value you share, if you're excited about it, right? There's a massive difference between if I go, yeah, I think for your painting business, you just got to do more enthusiastic posts. And I'm not even enthusiastic. What the hell? What kind of advice is that? You know, it's like your therapist telling you need to be happier and smile more while they're frowning and crying in your face. It's like mixed signals, you know? Yeah. So for myself, I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, you got to have this. Oh, what would really work? And then I do an example. Like I was telling Aiden today, we had a little call earlier where like something that like painters can implement for sales process is give a tangible like experience, right? Talking about how your potential process or product might work could be great, sure, but no one understands that. They need to feel it. So I would take my phone and say, guys, like our most like impressive ad or the one that brings the most back to you guys, it's so simple. Grab your phone and do it like this. And then I give them an example. Now, from it, my goal is for them to understand like, wow, that's going to work a lot. But you know what response I get most of the time? Can you come work for me? Now, I don't know what that tells you guys, but to me that says I want to pay you either way.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether you work for me or I work with you, right? So I shared so much insight and value that once I provide that tangible experience of what kind of ads we can run, they're already in the bag, right? And it's not with the idea of going, ha ha ha, I got him. I'm
Yeah.
going to cut a check. I'm going to make a commission. No, that's actually what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So they get out of it. Wow, this is going to be fucking awesome. I already got a feeling of how this is going to affect me. Let's do this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say that's a pretty good implementation for sales.
I think also too, just to add on to that, you talked to me about sales being a lifestyle, right? It's more than just, hey, showing up, giving your pitch, trying to battle objections, close the sale. It's like if you're not showing up with optimal energy, feeling good, generally being there with the client, like talk about that. Cause I know you invest a lot of time into health and, feeling good and, mental clarity.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people that I've seen struggle in sales typically also struggle with like a lot of things outside in like their regular life. Like probably the most one that like the one that stands out the most to me is someone in sales that's shy, like a lower energy because they're more like they claim to be an introvert, but in actuality, there's a bit more of a wide like spectrum to that like style of social skill where a lot of people are extroverts, but they're shy extroverts. And it's because they've been dealt with a lot of negative reactions to certain interactions. So now they stay on like the reserved side. Whereas for myself, I was pretty fortunate to be kind of a part of a lot of more like social groups growing up, like part of sports. I played all kinds of sports. So I was in different like areas all the time. But at the end of the day, I gained the most amount of my confidence when I hit like the biggest goals for me personally. I had always been a very skinny guy and underweight for my height. I'm 6'2". I weighed like 167 pounds about like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then I realized like that can't slide. Like the poker career had me sitting down a lot. So I stopped being active, but I used to weigh a little bit more and like more muscular because of hockey and things like that. So when I got back into it, I was so dedicated. I was like, I'm going to make sure that I'm like winning here because if I'm winning here, I'm going to be winning here. Everything's a domino effect, right? And Joel, you say this all the time too. It's how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So if you're half-assing everything, your half-assed results, your half-assed emotion, your half-assed relationships, your half-assed everything, reactions to you, right? You're going to come in thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to rock the world here. But you're lying about everything else. No one else is going to really genuinely believe you, and then you can't follow through. So for myself, I gained the most amount of confidence hitting the gym, getting to a size where I was like, hell yeah, those are the goals I was aiming for. Like now I'm 205 pounds. I'm in a lot better shape than I was. And now when someone sees me in person, well, one, I meet a lot of people over video calls. The first reaction is, holy shit, you're a lot bigger than I thought.
Big body. Pro wrestler.
Right.
Yeah. So it comes with like, it brings a level of authority as well, right? It's not like a power dynamic authority, but it's an authority of like, okay, this guy means what he says, right? Like if he's taking care of himself, he'll more than likely take care of me too, right? It's kind of like,
it's like an earned confidence or respect, right?
Yeah.
You earned it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it shows like a mental toughness too, right? Because working out's not easy, right? A lot of millionaires say it's harder to keep your health for a year straight than it is to become a millionaire, which to me blew my mind because I was like, what? I'm having a hard time hitting a 10K month. What the hell? And then I started working out and I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I see where they're coming from. Right? Because it's that mental resilience that once you're tough, once you're like quote unquote thick skinned in that aspect, any type of like nonsense or obstacle that comes your way, man, it just bounces off and you just plow through it.
Dang. I got a question too. Let's just say you owned a painting company, to this point, and just knowing you, it's like you're more familiar with the space now. You know what to expect from people that are high level salespeople. You can weed them out pretty much. If you own a painting company, what are the traits you would look for in a sales rep?
Wow, that's a very good question. First and foremost, someone that doesn't like someone that's more accountable, right? Self-accountability is massive. And sales is a performance-based payout, right? If you're working a sales job and you have like a massive base salary and a super small commission, you're living in the comfort world. Most sales positions that have the most successful people, the most successful salesmen ask for 0 base and the maximum percent of commission, right? Because that shows, hey, if I put in the freaking work and I bring you guys capital, I get capital, right? Which removes ceilings, right? You now can get as much as you want from all the work you do. So first characteristics is accountability. And I would kind of ask like how their previous experience have happened before and see, do they blame outwardly or do they say, you know, I probably could have done this a bit better. And yeah, I like to ask questions about these things because I don't know what I don't know. Like those types of people typically will see a problem and then turn to someone they believe is an expert and say, hey man, I suck at this. How did you do it? And that right there shows like, oh, wow, definitely coachable.
Yeah.
If I tell them something that's like a critique, they're not going to get like butthurt about it and take it personally. Be like, man, my boss is telling me I got to get better at this. They're going to go, I'm hearing what I need to hear.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's huge, right? Like for myself with Lucas, we would do call reviews. Like we would record some of my sales calls. And I would come to him and I'd be like, man, I keep letting people walk away. I'm not closing. I'm just doing the pitch and they say, I need to go. And I go, okay. And then they'd leave and I'd be like, fuck. Oh, why did I do that? And he's like, why do you keep doing that? And I go, I really don't know. I have no idea why I'm doing it. What do you think I should say? What can I implement? What should I know? Like, where can we go about this? And that's kind of when I think that was around the time I met Joel and got a little bit more coaching with him. And then we found out why. And that's a whole nother topic.
Another episode.
Exactly. But essentially it brought me to a point where since I was able to ask like for help and not take any type of critique as like a personal attack, I was able to hear the lesson properly and then take that information and implement it. So if I'm going to be building a sales team, I'm going to look for someone that's accountable as heck and goes, I'm the problem here. And even if they're not, that's a freaking awesome way to start.
Yep.
Right? Much better for the boss to go, wait, okay, no. I love how you're taking the blame here, but it's actually not your fault. It's something over here. Then you go, wow, weight off my shoulders, man. What can we do next? You know, now the environment's much more like positive. So if someone's super accountable, huge. If someone's like asking a bunch of questions all the time, even better too. It kind of plays into the accountability spot. But at the end of the day, an extrovert, an absolute extrovert, someone that if I ask, hey, if I put you in a crowd of strangers, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You ask me that question, I'm saying I'm meeting everybody. I'm going to walk away. Everyone's going to know who Sam is. And if not, I ain't leaving.
Love it.
Love that too, man.
And guys, like I asked that question because I know Sam is such a high level guy when it comes to sales, mindset and all that, right? And I've sent him stuff personally, my own sales calls. I sent him my full sales process and I said, Sam, annihilate me. Make me look like I don't know shit. Just because I know what he brings to the table. And that's why, we're excited to have him on and have him share kind of how his brain works because it's so much different than a lot of people out there. It's like that earned confidence every time he has a conversation with you. You're like, damn, this guy's a unique guy. Just more and more we get to know him. It's just like such an interesting individual. And those are the best guys selling,
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Love that. I love to add real quick on the sales guys, real fast. Like what I teach a lot of people is I tell them, listen, always role play on a call, on an interview. You'll know, even if they don't know sales, you'll know if they're coachable. Right. And it's a quick way. If you guys are struggling hiring sales people, role play on the interview. See how witty are they? How quick can they bounce back? Or even just go through it with comfort, knowing that they don't know as much as they are going to know, but they're willing to work through it. Right. So it tells you a lot of stuff. And then the other piece to that is I always look for someone that says, let me show you. Those are my favorites.
I like that one.
Those are my
That's how you know
favorites.
you have a dog.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Put me to the test. Throw me in
they'll
there.
tell you all the time. They're like, "Let me show you." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
let's go." Like, I don't even ask any more questions. I'm like, "You're hired. Let's go." Right?
Yeah.
Dude, like I want to shout out back to PaintCon, Daniel Thayer with
Yeah.
Integrity, his
Yeah.
sales guy. They were
Yeah,
like, "Who wants to come up role play?" My
Woo.
man Josh walked right up there, basically closed him. I was like, "Damn,
Yeah.
my man."
No hesitation.
No hesitation, bro. He's been around the block, and
Yeah.
for Daniel at his size, he needs somebody like that, right? There is no
Yes.
settling. If you're already doing 5 million, what's next? I need the right guys in there, right? But it doesn't
100%.
matter how big you are, really. It's like you want to look for those people and keep them on your team, you know?
100%.
And I love that you said that with the role playing. It's like, because even if they aren't, you know, where you want them to be, as long as they have that humility to them, like, okay, receptive to feedback and they can correct, that's a good guy. I'll roll with that,
Yeah.
you know?
Too easy then.
It's good.
So, well, Sammy, like, how much time we got here, Aiden? I'm trying to.
We got a couple minutes. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, Sam, how close us out with something? Give us something else. What do you got? Like, what comes to your mind, right? Because, like, obviously, you do a lot of different things. You're really into mindset. You're really into studying. I mean, gosh, like, I can even see the books in the background.
Right.
But, like, what's something you want someone out of this whole, I would say, podcast today on this episode? What would be one thing you really want our audience to take away from Sam?
Loaded question. Damn, I could go so many different angles with this. I'd say, like, damn, honestly, that's a great question, man.
I like to stump you a little bit, challenge you.
Yeah. I'm kind of like going through my decision tree of what I could go with it. Honestly, I would say really evaluate your circle. Really evaluate your circle. There's nothing more detrimental to your growth than the people you hang out with. I personally don't have very many friends, and that's by design. I want to be around the right people, because you can have people like, now a few of these examples, like I'm going to give a quick example. I started teaching myself Spanish when I was like 18. I just liked the language. It sounded awesome. And now I'm like 70% fluent in it. I can speak very well. And like, it helps me in sales too, because a lot of painters are Spanish speaking. And when I was starting out teaching myself Spanish, a lot of friends were like, that's so weird. Like, why the hell are you doing that? Like, knocking it rather than be like, dude, that's cool, man. Whatever. Awesome. Get it. You know? So, it's not to say like those are terrible people, but imagine that like that was just a side quest for me learning the Spanish. I was just like, just fucking do it. It sounds fun. But if it was something you truly cared about and people were like laughing at you about it, or like knocking it and stuff like that, like the odds of you actually continuing with it, pretty low. Right. So if you really take a look at who you hang out with and your circle and your environment, man, like if you just scope it so that you have just people that are supportive and full of energy, it's going to sound like a cliche, but like there's nothing you can't do, right? You will be able to attain whatever you are, like whatever you're working towards. If you have the right people around you and the ones that just keep cheering you on, if you get knocked down for a day, they'll bring you back up, right? Like for myself, Lucas, Joel, Aiden, Lucas's brother, Ryan, like these guys, when I was struggling with this stuff, Ryan wasn't even working with us at that point. He was like, dude, you got this, man. Like, pick it back up. Remember, in poker, it's resilience. It's keep going, truck through. Lucas would be like, hey, man, what do you need? What can I get you? This is what you do. Dude, great job on that. Here's how we could tweak this. Man, I felt invincible. I was failing hardcore, but they kept like picking me back up, throwing me back in there. Come on, dude, you got this. Because they wouldn't do that if they didn't believe in you. And it's genuine energy and it's positive reinforcement. Now, a year later, I've like helped with 4Xing the business side and our clientele basis, all because the people around me invested their time and energy and their positiveness into like my workflow. But also like Lucas took massive investments to help me grow, right? He bought like a 20-something $1,000 coaching program in sales. And I was like, holy shit. Like, okay, now is the time. Now I got to put it in. So I helped like with that course, I like 5x the investment in a month. And then I was just like, you know what? Holy shit. I'm around the right freaking people.
Yeah.
And if I keep going on this path, what like
Yeah.
throw me another curveball.
You're painting
You
your
know,
path,
let me
bro.
see. Let me see the next one. Yeah.
Love it.
Dude, and I want to just say, dude, I've witnessed the lives you've changed, bro. I mean, the people I throw your way, right? Always good feedback. Always, dude. Thank God I found them. They're doing great with me, right? Or even in person, people coming up, oh, you're Sam, hugging you, right? You know, just because you talk to them on
I'm a
Zoom
big
calls and
hugger. I'm a
stuff.
big hugger too, so I love
It's
it.
awesome to watch, bro. And that's why your health, your wealth, it's all going through the roof. The relationships you have are getting, better. Obviously, I hope we continue to have an awesome relationship going forward, all of us, right? And it's something special, man. And, go back to PainCon at the very end, dude. People are like hugging each other. I love you, bro. Like, dude, we're going to kill it, dude. Those are the people you want to be around, because on the reverse side, just like you said, you got those dead weight people that are around that you're like, hey, I've been around you a long time. I'm looking to level up. You're kind of bringing me down. I love you. I want you to do good. I'll do whatever I can. But we're at the point where we're just living two different lives. Let's just keep it distant, right? You don't even have to like say it, but just, move in your own way. And if they want to tag along, great. If they want to wake up, great. You just got to do you. And I think that's what you're really, pointing to. And that's big because people don't want to do that. People want to keep those guys around because they're loyal, because they've been around for so long. It's what they know. They're comfortable. Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. It's not good for you. It's holding you back.
Bridge. Yeah, it's not like you have to even burn a bridge. You just have to like slowly distance, keep your space so you can focus, right? Like the bad energy is a distraction. And god damn, can it be distracting? Because it could pull you away from a day. Like Joel, you say this all the time. You can have a bad moment, but not a bad day. So imagine the energy around you makes you have a bad day. You're countering my boy Joel's freaking points, man. Like you can't
exactly
can't do that.
Right. I'm getting coached by this guru, this wizard, and then you're bringing me back to my old me. Get the frick out of here. I gotta crush these ants. You're bringing them all over me.
Yeah, exactly, man. So but yeah, man, that was a very, very good question, Joel. That was like wanting someone to take something from this. Like, there's so many things I could say. I mean, we'll do another podcast for sure. But
absolutely,
I feel like we were just heating up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's so many topics to talk about, right? So that's why I wanted to kind of get a closing statement from you, because like, a lot of people look for these secrets and stuff, and look what you identified. You identified your circle. So as a recap, right? You identified your circle is very important. Like you didn't even say anything sales related, right? That is what's helping you to be your better self. It's what's helping you see a better vision. It's what's helping you be able to operate at a higher level in sales because of what you just finished saying. And a lot of people are seeking other things. Like, remember, Aiden, when you were saying earlier, right? We were talking about we're talking about God. We're talking about our families. People are thinking we're going to talk about the secret sauce on stage. Well, it's about us. It's about within and the people we have around us to get us to keep moving forward. So I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah,
it's been great stuff.
Absolutely.
This guy has multi-million-dollar goals next year, and he's talking about his circle. He's talking about before the call. He's talking about his body fat percentage. I mean, come on, guys, get your priorities straight. That's hilarious. Cool. Awesome. Well, Sam, where can people find you, bro?
On Instagram at sam.creaney, Creaney. Definitely big on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook as well. Those are one of the real channels I'm on. But yeah. If someone's a painter looking to get their business to multiply like crazy
100%.
and not just do it out of improvisation, hit our line, Ford Media. Man, we can make that stuff happen. We can get you a Ford Media Millionaires Club Award, where you finally hit 7 figures with us and have a beautiful plaque to put in your office. I mean, who doesn't like trophies? What the heck?
Right. What was the dollar amount? Lucas went up and said, like, for every dollar our clients put in, how much did they get in return?
About like $34 in like in some parts of the year, but I think on average, you put in $1, you get anywhere between like $25 and $34 back. So if you're investing dollars into your business and you can get 25 to 30 times your money, it's like playing a guaranteed lottery.
amazing.
It's so funny because I love when people join the coaching or talk to me and they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about going with that FMM team. They seem like they're the best in the, in the industry. And I'm like, cause they are, not even like tooting their horn, but it's like, you guys are the main people that I send people to, So it's like,
thank you.
You got to set our guys up for success. I care about my guys. I want them to do good. Joel, the same
100%.
way. Right. So it's like,
100%.
It's almost like a no-brainer.
I think that's also why like major success in all the angles from us is that we actually genuinely care about the people we work with.
Yeah.
Right. We're not just a plug and play. We're not a copy paste. We're genuinely working on and genuinely guiding and just using the experience and expertise we have to just properly provide value. Right. There's no one that's massively rich off of just counting dollars. The richest people, whether health, wealth, or anything in between, is because they provide value to some extent, right?
100%.
Cool, boys. 100%. All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up. Joel, do you want to end with a quote, brother?
Yeah, let's see. I always use the same two. You know what? Let's keep it simple today, and then I'll get a new quote for you guys. Okay,
I love it.
Simplicity. Actually, no, I am going to do a new one today. Simplicity is the key to brilliance. Bruce Lee.
There you go.
Love it. All right, guys. Till next time.
Thank you, guys. Take care, everybody.
Bye.